This video is rated B for you'd better back on out of here if you don't want spoilers, buddy. Eureka. Throughout history, this word has been a playful exclamation to many. Normally seen as a response to a great discovery or realization, its definition is seen as positive. But in the last 100 years, this word has become a warning, a danger, and an endless source of pain. Today, my friends, we will explore the tragic disappearance that befell the Isle of Val, the fate of those upon it, and the reason for its sudden reemergence as the forbidden land of Eureka. To fully understand this story, we need to start at the very beginning. Let us explore the life of a Heer named Galif Baldessian. Like the Leveilleur family, those of House Baldessian are well respected in Old Charlian. Considered a prestigious family, Galif Baldessian was born into power. And like many respected Charlians, Galif proved to be a very clever man with a knack for aetheric research. His younger days were spent learning and gathering an academic name for himself, eventually even becoming an Archon. But that's not where his heart was. In truth, Galif was very whimsical, proven to sudden urges to travel, as the Siren Song of Adventure was one he couldn't ignore. Eventually, he couldn't take it anymore, and he decided to do just that. He wanted to see everything the majestic world of Hydaelyn had to offer. For the majority of his travels, he had 3 companions, a Heer, an Aura, and a wolfish Lupin that helped him in his adventures as well as his research. This group of friends went on many adventures together, discovering the beauties and dangers living within the world they loved so much. But nothing in their experience could prepare them for what they eventually discovered. It's during these travels they stumbled upon something, an entity, a primal. But this primal was nothing they'd ever seen or heard of. There were no records of its existence or any classification that would suggest a society that would summon it. It was a completely foreign and even alien entity. Given its near limitless power and practically ancient existence, it was given the designation of Elder Primal. But the primal being itself gave them its name. It called itself Eureka. Surprisingly, despite looking like an aetheric cube, this Elder Primal was talkative. It would project an avatar of itself draped in black that would stand around and speak to those it wished to communicate with. Galif probed the avatar for answers. Who created it and why? To this, it gave vague answers, but most commonly claimed that it existed to cast down the wicked. Being men of learning, Galif and his party knew that the word wicked could be interpreted in countless ways. Thusly, they could not trust this Elder Primal's baseless statements. But one thing that Eureka said stood out to them, namely that the prison Eureka was found in was created by one who bared the light, most likely a forgotten champion of Hydaelyn. This realization shocked them. The idea that a champion of Hydaelyn might have gone so far to seal this Elder Primal away and scrub any record of its existence meant this entity was beyond mortal control. They immediately went on the defensive, trying to learn all they could about this primal and its powers. Thankfully, Eureka seemed to be incapable of harming anyone or anything on its own, but it was always trying to tempt Galif and his friends with promises of power, primarily to fulfill their desires to cast down the wicked. Eventually, they did discover the nature of Eureka and its powers, but it was worse than they feared. Eureka was a primal that couldn't do anything on its own, but when controlled by a willing master, had the ability to create anything the person desired. This Elder Primal was a perfect creation engine, and seemed to specialize in making magical weapons of devastating power. This might not seem all that bad to some people, but allow me to explain. These weapons were just as strong, if not stronger than primals themselves, with similar abilities. To possess a weapon made by Eureka would be to forfeit your soul, as the weapon itself would temper you and turn you into a vessel of its will, or more specifically, the reason for its creation. These weapons were completely autonomous from Eureka, so once it was created, it couldn't be controlled. However, these temptations for power weren't the worst part. As stated, Eureka had the power to convert Aether into anything. For example, if Eureka's master wanted to create a new Mother Crystal, a new Hydaelyn, then Eureka would oblige. But the Aether it would consume to do so would starve and destroy our world before the task could even be completed. This was the true threat Eureka posed as a potential world-ending Elder Primal. Galif and his friends immediately agreed that this thing needed to be destroyed. But as they continued their research, they learned why it was sealed away by the champion of Hydaelyn before them. Eureka may not be able to harm anyone on its own, but it also cannot be harmed either. No amount of magic or weapons would be enough to wound or slay it. In addition, it seemed to possess the greatest pool of Aether of any entity in the entire world, which meant it was in no danger of running out of Aether and disappearing like most primals would. Frustrated at their lack of options, Galif's party then opted to seal Eureka away just like the champion before them. But they needed a new place to hide it. Eventually, Galif got a fantastic idea. He would not only create a prison for Eureka, but have people dedicate their lives to finding a way to destroy it without even knowing. Using the wealth and connections he gained from his adventures, as well as the influence of the Baldessian family name, Galif purchased the Isle of Vol, which was located off the coast of Sharlayan. The Isle of Vol was considered an undesirable location due to its overgrown and unforgiving terrain, but to Galif, this was perfect. He and his friends moved Eureka to a hidden lab on the island and then set about containing it. While they were preparing the island as a prison, Galif realized that they might be able to use the island itself to starve the Elder Primal of Aether and eventually kill it. By strategically placing a vast Aethernet over the island, they could essentially create a massive inverted magic seal, one that would steadily drain Aether from Eureka whilst in its prison. But Galif didn't stop there. With the support of the Forum, he gained the political aid he needed to form the students of Baldesion, and the Isle of Vol officially became an etheric research center. Of course, this was a cover-up. In truth, he was testing methods to accelerate Eureka's demise. However, he had to face the reality of the situation. It would take a lifetime for Eureka to be thoroughly drained to the point of destruction. They also gathered as many of Eureka's weapons as they could and sealed them away. But even they don't know how many weapons the Elder Primal may have made over the years. In fact, one such weapon still wanders the Black Shroud to this very day. But eventually Galif and his friends relaxed, content that their prison and secrets were safe, and that all they had to do was wait for the seal on Eureka to starve the Primal. Over the following decades, Galif remained on the Isle of Vol to not only watch over Eureka's prison, but to encourage all those who studied under him. You see, Galif never lost that adventurous side to himself, and he was always excited to help others experiment and learn new things. Because of this, the students of Baldesion earned a respected reputation for gathering powerful mages and innovative intellectuals. Some other things Galif became known for was creating an orphanage on the Isle of Vol to raise and teach those without families or loved ones. He even created a scholarship program for those who had great talent, but no support. Archon Galif Baldessian, like Archon Louisoix Le Veilleur, was considered a brilliant, hopeful, and kind man. At some point, Galif adopted an orphan named Krile and raised her as his own daughter. She took his last name, becoming Krile Baldessian. At age 12, she awoke to the power of the Echo. The Echo granted her a special power, allowing her to hear the whispers of people's souls. Being able to hear the thoughts and feelings of other people tormented the young Krile to no end, making her believe her existence to be a cruel and cursed one. But her father consoled her, and dedicated an entire research team to study the Echo that Krile had gained. Through Krile, the students of Baldesion learned much about the secrets of the Echo, and with Galif's help, Krile learned to better control her unique powers and accept them. To celebrate, Galif gifted Krile with the Cloak of 9 Lives. The big ears of this yellow robe were symbolic of Krile's unique talent to hear things others couldn't. Krile proudly wears similar robes to this very day. 10 years later, Krile would become a Studium graduate and respected expert in curative and support magics. She even began to help Galif in his research alongside another talented Lalafell named Eorzea Sunjika. Eorzea had become one of Galif's most promising students, and together they learned much about Aether and the world. But all good things must come to an end eventually. By some unexplainable means, an Ascian had found Eureka in its prison. Her name was Eorzea, and as you can guess, her intentions involving Eureka were nothing less than insane. Galif and his comrades would rather die than let the Ascians have Eureka, and that's exactly what happened. They ordered everyone to evacuate the island and get as far away as possible. At the same time, they began to invoke a massive spell. This particular magic caused the entire Isle of Val to disappear off of the face of the world and be viciously thrown into the life stream, the ethereal realm. But they didn't wait long enough. Almost everyone on the island was cast into the life stream with them, causing instant death for many, and the others to become hopelessly lost before fading away. Whilst in the life stream, Galif and his allies made one final stand against Eorzea. Together, they defeated her, and since they were in the life stream, her weakened body was ripped asunder and her essence was scattered, never to reform again. But the Isle of Val was now trapped in the life stream, with Galif, his allies, and many students still on it. Galif wept at what they had to do to save the world, but was hopeful that Eureka had been weakened to the point that it would disappear into the life stream with them and the island. But just in case the unthinkable happened, he wrote his last words and testament. If the Isle of Val ever reappeared on the material plane, he begs whomever is reading his message to keep Eureka sealed and to seek out the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Hopefully, with their aid, Eureka can finally be destroyed, if not sealed for eternity. But as you all know, the worst case scenarios just kept happening. Even after the massive sacrifices Galif made to kill Eureka and the Ascian, the Isle of Val still re-emerged on Hydaelyn, but this time was located in the Glass Ocean in the Far East. Even after being steadily drained for decades and imprisoned, Eureka still had the power to act as an anchor and drag the island back into the material world. Any who set foot on the Isle of Val now can tell just how powerful the ravages of Aether can be. Having been trapped in the life stream, the island became warped. The elements became inverted, acting in ways that other elements behaved, or downright wrong in terms of natural physics. This unstable energy gave rise to many powerful and dangerous monsters, and due to these fluctuations, portals to the void became so frequent that extremely powerful void scent managed to make their way onto the island. It's only through the current efforts of adventurers and other groups that the island is steadily getting reclaimed. It's a slow process, but eventually the island might become a seat for knowledge once again. But first, The final wishes of Galif Baldessian and his friends need to be honored, and Eureka must be dealt with. But you won't be alone. While most of the students of Baldesion perished during the island's movements into the lifestream, Krile Baldessian, Ijika Sunjika, and Grahatia are among the students that either survived the spell or weren't there when it was cast. With their help, we might just carry Galif's wishes for a better future for him. And that is the complete story of the island of Vol, and the ravages of the Elder Primal Eureka. No matter what choices you make on your journey, be prepared to live with the consequences just like Galif did. Till next we come together, be well, and stay safe, my friends. Hello everyone! Thanks for staying to the end of the lesson. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, subscribe and like this video to let me know I'm doing well. If there is a topic you'd want me to cover in the future, leave a comment about it and I'll see what I can do. Until next we meet, I'll be researching even more of our world's rich lore to share with you. Till then, stay safe, my friends.